back to Unaware Commentary, the place for Pokemon TCG battle narration that doesn't care about the stats.
Welcome back, trainers, to another exciting Pokemon TCG battle narration. We are catching up with our players as the battle is about to commence. Our player 2 on the right with a Gigantamax Charizard Mat going to be going first, starting an Abra in the active position, and just a pass over to our player 1 who has started in the Veltal in the active position, benching of a Dino and a Dunsparce onto the bench, and the playing of a Buddy Poffin and a Hilda to go into the deck. Take a look at what resources are going to be available. Buddy Poffin going to be allowing our player to find 2 Pokemon with 70 HP or less and place them onto the bench. Hilda going to allow our player to grab an evolution Pokemon as well as an energy, a Dunsparce, and a Dino being found and placed on the bench from the Buddy Poffin. Looks like the consideration of the Neo Upper Energy is the energy for choice off of the Hilda. The A-Spec allowing for Stage 2 Pokemon to have 2 energy of any type, and a Zweilous going to be the choice off of the Hilda. Looks like we are considering a Hyrdreigon EX, but Zweilous, the Stage 1 Dark type Pokemon that evolves from Dino, going to be the card of choice. Hyrdreigon EX, a powerful Pokemon able to take prizes with both its crashing headbutt attack as well as potentially taking multiple prizes with Obsidian. Going to require multiple energy types as it is a Stellar Pokemon EX. Stellar type Pokemon in the Pokemon TCG requiring multiple energy types to use their secondary attacks. Just seeing an attachment of a Metal Energy to the Dino and a pass back over to our player 2 who must have top decked a Telepathic Energy. Going to see that attachment to the active Abra going into the deck, finding 2 basic Psychic Pokemon and placing them onto the bench. Going to find both an Abra and a Togepi, meaning there is a Togekiss likely hiding into this Alakazam deck with its Wonder Kiss ability, potentially going to allow our player to take additional prize cards here. We're going to see our first Psychic draw of the game, the evolution of Kadabra onto that active Abra, allowing for the drawing of 2 cards from the deck into the hand. The playing of a Dawn as our supporter of choice. Per turn in the Pokemon TCG, you only get 1 supporter. Once there's a supporter that you play that allows you to get 2, make a comment if you know what that card is that I'm talking about, because back in the day they used to let us play supporters that would let us play multiple supporters, if you would believe it. But Dawn just going to allow for the searching up of a basic, a Stage 1 and a Stage 2 Pokemon into the hand. It looks like the consideration of a Dunsparce and a Dunsparce as well as an Alakazam for the following turn, potentially going to try to set up the secondary draw engine of this deck, the evolution and psychic draw, allowing for lots of cards to make their way into the hand. But Dunsparce and the Dunsparce, a necessary resource for this deck to function at its fullest capacity. That Dunsparce finding its way onto the bench. Potentially you're going to see a Super Psybolt into the active Veltal, dealing 30 damage. Back to our player 1 who has drawn for the turn, finding a Dark Energy in the hand. Lots of options here. We do have the Zweilous, we do have a Rare Candy and a Hydreigon. Going to see lots of Dark Dragon Pokemon finding their way into play. Zweilous on the bench, a Rare Candy and a Hydreigon EX coming into play. Attachment of Dark Energy to that Hydreigon EX, powering up that crashing headbutt attack. Going to see the free retreat of the Veltal, promotion of Hydreigon EX, and a 400 damage attack because of weakness into that Kadabra. A prize card being taken by our player 1, and the milling of 3 cards that look like a Boss's Orders, a Sacred Ash, and the Pheasantipity. Some great resources for our player 2 being milled away as they confidently draw for turn, evolve into the Dunsparce in the active position. Going to have that runaway draw as a ability to see some additional cards this turn, but a Pheasantipity or a Sacred Ash to be able to get those resources that were lost on the previous turn back into play would have been great, but they were milled away from our player 1's crashing headbutt on that Hydreigon EX. We do see some resources in the hand. Going to see the evolution of the Kadabra on the bench, finding a Night Stretcher to be able to grab the Pheasantipity out of the discard pile off of those 2 cards from Psychic Draw. A quick flip the script as a knockout was taken on the previous turn, allowing for 3 additional cards to be drawn into the hand. Considering the playing of a Buddy Poffin here, going to choose to runaway draw first, drawing 3 cards into the hand and shuffling the Dunsparce into the deck. Possible we're going to just grab that Dunsparce here off the Buddy Poffin to look for a second Pokemon with 70 HP or less to put on the bench. Looks like a consideration of a Shaman. If there's another Pokemon in the hand, we may want to put a second Dunsparce into play. Actually going to see the playing of a Pokepad, as Shaman can't be grabbed off Buddy Poffin. It has too much HP. It is an 80 HP Pokemon. Buddy Poffin only going to be allowed to grab a 70 HP Pokemon and put them on the bench. Wise of our player too not to fill up that bench spot, but Shaman going to come into play with its Flower Curtain ability, preventing all damage from benched Pokemon that do not have a rule box, so not able to protect that Serendipity EX. We're going to provide a cover for those Abras, Kadabras, as well as that Togepi. We see the attachment of an Enriching Energy to that Dunsparce on the bench. Not going to see a Psychic Energy coming into play this turn, so no attacks, but that Enriching Energy, the A-Spec of our Alakazam player, allowing for 4 cards to be drawn. Importantly, attaching it to the Dunsparce will allow it to be shuffled away with a Dunsparce to allow for it to be cycled through the deck. Our player one's hand just full of energy, a Dark Energy being attached to the Zweilous, but not a problem because Crashing Headbutt is just going to take a knockout on the active Abra. 3 more cards milled, a Rare Candy, a Buddy Poffin, and a Handheld Fan. There is a Kadabra in play, so that Rare Candy is going to be less essential. Flip the script quickly being used. Look like the drawing of a Lucky Helmet and a red card, a Psychic Draw being used by the evolution of Alakazam to the active position. Plenty of cards in the hand. Powerful hand. The attack of the Alakazam going to do 2 damage counters worth of damage to the opponent's active Pokemon, equal to the number of cards in hand due to the attachment of a Telepathic Psychic Energy, allowing our player to go into the deck and find another basic Psychic Pokemon, placed onto the bench. There is another Abra in the deck, so it is going to find its way onto the bench. Are we going to see potentially a Togekiss going to come into play this turn to allow our player some additional flexibility, ability to take some more prizes? Our player one holding that Neo Upper Energy in hand, not going for the Obsidian because of the presence of the Shaman. We do know that our player one has an Enhanced Hammer in the hand, so that Neo Upper Energy would not have lasted long. We do see a Rare Candy in the hand. Is there a means of grabbing a Togekiss? There is. We're going to see a Pokepad going into the deck to find a non-rule box Pokemon. There is the Togekiss with its Wonder Kiss ability, allowing for the flipping of a coin should a Pokemon be knocked out, and if it comes out heads, you are allowed to take an additional prize. You see the Rare Candy and the Togekiss being found into play, the attachment of a Handheld Fan onto that active Alakazam. Going to take the hand down, an additional card. Going to see the Runaway draw here to build that hand back up. The shuffling of the Enriching Energy as well as the Dunsparce back into the deck. We did see the attachment of the Telepathic Psychic Energy for the turn, so that Enriching Energy is going to not be a resource that's available should we have a means of finding it onto this following turn. Are we going to see the Dunsparce come back into play to reestablish that as an option as a draw engine? Looks like we're getting a count of the cards in hand to figure out how much damage Powerful Hand is doing. Are we going to be able to get to where we can knock out this Hyrdreigon EX? What resources do we have available? Having to keep track of the number of cards you have in hand does demand that our player is careful about what cards are being played. Do you see the playing of a Pokepad going into the deck to find a non-rule box Pokemon? It is going to put that Dunsparce back into play, reestablish the potential for that draw engine. There is going to be enough cards in hand for that Powerful Hand to take a knockout on the Hydreigon EX, and a heads on the Wonder Kiss. 3 prize cards being taken, and our player 2 is right back into this game with 3 prize cards being taken, treating that Hydreigon EX like it's a mega Pokemon and forcing it to give up prizes. A attachment of a second Dark Energy to the Zweilous, and just a pass over. Our player one's hand is not going to be live to taking prize cards, to playing draw supporters. Just a tough hand. Did see the playing of a Rare Candy and the evolution of an Alakazam. Gonna make sure that that Rare Candy finds its way into the discard pile here. Lots of cards available in the hand. That the Dunsparce did not quite make its way onto the Dunsparce. Looks like a Psychic Draw would have drawn 3 cards here, considering the playing of a Boss's Orders. It is going to pull up the Zweilous from the bench into the active position. There is enough cards in the hand to knock out their Hydreigon EX. There's going to be enough cards in the hand to knock out a Zweilous. The Powerful Hand, a Tails flip, so just 1 prize card being taken after the attachment of a Psychic Energy to the benched Alakazam. The playing of a Lily's Determination going to allow our player 1 to go into the deck, shuffle that hand into the deck and draw 6 cards. We did not see the attachment of the Neo Upper Energy, so Rare Candy Hydreigon is not live to getting us back to taking more prizes. Something like a red card mixed with a crashing headbutt would have been a good way to get back into this game. But what do these 6 cards present us with? We do see an Ultra Ball, a means of playing a Dunsparce, so lots of ways to get additional cards here. I know that powerful hand on the other side is quite daunting. We do see an Ultra Ball as well as a Rescue Stretcher, so if we can find a rare candy here or potentially draw back into that Neo Upper Energy, we can get an attack off this turn. Going to come down to what these runaway draws find us. That is a Lily's Determination, a Pokemon, and the Neo Upper Energy. That's pretty incredible, but we did see the evolution of a Zweilous onto the bench, and that Dino on the bench did come into play this turn, so we're not going to be able to see a Hydreigon. We did see the playing of a Pokepad and a Buddy Buddy popping, grabbing the Dunsparce and the Dunsparce back out of the deck. Another runaway draw coming here, drawing of 3 additional cards. Pokepad Badoo and the Dunsparce EX. The Dunsparce EX not going to be a factor in this game. That the Dunsparce does need to find its way back into the deck, not into the discard pile. It does not discard itself, it shuffles itself back in. Our player did notice, and that is now resting on the top of the deck. The promotion of the free retreat Dunsparce into the active position, eventually going to be the Pokemon of choice to be kept there, as if a Wondrous Kiss does not activate on the following turn. It is possible that our player 1 may be able to dig himself out of this position that he has found himself in. Unfortunately, unlikely that we're going to see an attack of this turn. We're going to play a Pokepad to grab the Dunsparce out of the deck for the following turn to be able to try to find some additional resources. Shuffling the deck, looking at the hand, essentially going to see that Neo Upper Energy find its way down. The playing of an Ultra Ball, discarding both Badoo and the Dunsparce EX, not going to be relevant in this current moment. Going and finding that Hyrdreigon EX for the following turn. The resources were not quite available this turn to put a Hyrdreigon EX in play because we didn't see a rare candy that I believe. So that holding the Neo Upper Energy may not have been an issue, may have been a bit optimistic if we had gotten the right cards in the right order. Not quite sure of the deck list of whether or not that rare candy would have been likely available. But again, it would have needed all of the options to be available. There is a Night Stretcher, and a knockout was taken on the following turn. So if there's a Pheasantipity, potentially more cards to be drawn. The promotion of the Veltal, just a Pokemon with slightly more HP in the active position, still with free retreat, going to be able to get back into the Hydreigon next turn. Unfortunately, due to the Shaman, it is going to be difficult to take a lot of those resources off board. Typically, Obsidian would be a great option here. Looking at the hand, seeing if there's an option to do anything else other than just Powerful Hand and flip. Wondrous Kiss going to allow for 2 prize cards to be taken. That knockout's going to end our game. Thank you so much for watching, players. We will catch you next time.